As Ian said, we've been around now for about 11 years, formed in the UK from the partnership including Radio Centre. And our main aim now is to keep radio strong in cars, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm going to cover three things. Firstly, the challenges and the opportunities facing radio in the car. Secondly, what we Radioplayer are doing about that on your behalf to keep radio strong. And thirdly, the importance of having a strong vision for radio in the car. So, I will click through. There you go. And for those of you that don't know much about Radioplayer, here's a quick intro. You build a sexy word like metadata into your promotional video, it really gets the crowd going. I can tell it's warmed you up, but I'll explain a bit more about that later because it's really important. As I said before, our main aim now is to keep radio strong in car, and we do that by forming partnerships with some of the big car companies. And we've been quite successful to date with that. So we have two existing partnerships with VW Group and BMW Group, and we work with them to create a brilliant radio experience. And when I talk about the radio experience, what I mean is what sits behind the radio button in the car. When you press that radio button, you get a broadcast radio experience. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what Radioplayer is trying to improve and enhance. We think that needs to be what we call hybrid radio. So that's where FM and DAB is at the heart of the experience, supplemented by internet connectivity, providing a much richer radio experience. So that's what we believe. Now, although we're making good progress, there's no doubt that radio's in prominent position that we've enjoyed for years is under threat. And there are big changes affecting the automotive industry which also impact radio and what that's going to look like in the car. The drive to electrification is one we're huge supporters of. Obviously, it's hugely beneficial for all of us. But it's bringing a lot of new brands to the automotive sector, and those new brands aren't encumbered by what's gone before. They've got a blank canvas when they look at their dashboard and how they design media and entertainment. And that means they're increasing the pace of change of that technology in the car. It's something we need to be conscious of. Obviously, all new cars now come with built-in connectivity, internet connectivity, and more that's being used for media and entertainment in a way that it wasn't maybe 2-3 years ago. And the size of the dashboard screens are getting much, much bigger, huge high-resolution dashboard screens. And that means that the visual presentation of radio needs to improve if it's going to look good against other services in the car. And then finally, and unsurprisingly, all of these trends are catching the eye of the big tech companies, the guys with massively deep pockets. And these guys look at the car and the dashboard as a huge growth opportunity. And they're investing heavily in making their own presence felt. And one of the biggest investments being made has been by Google in a technology called Android Automotive. This is an operating system. So this is software that sits behind the dashboard and powers everything you see in the car, including the media and entertainment experience. Designed by Google. And this is really important because we know that probably within the next 4 years, this operating system, Android Automotive, will be powering probably around 70% of new cars that are coming onto the roads in the UK and in Europe. And there's two things that are really important about that. Number one is that the standard radio experience that Google have developed isn't very good. It should be much, much better. It's not hybrid, and it's not as good as it could be. The second thing is that Android Automotive creates really an app environment in the dashboard. You can download your own apps to the dashboard from the car. This is a snapshot of a car called the Polestar. This is a new electric vehicle, which was the first production company to use Android Automotive. And they've used Google's standard interface, and you can see here, it looks a bit more like a mobile phone. And in there is the radio button. You can see it there, or you might not be able to see it. The point I'm making is much more competition, and we need to fight for radio's prominence and make sure it's a great experience in this environment. Now, the good news is we know that our listeners and car manufacturer customers love radio in the car. They love broadcast radio. And we know this because at the end of last year, we researched it. So in a collaborative organisation, Radioplayer was one of the lead partners, and we spoke to 6,000 car buyers, so people who'd either just bought a car in the last couple of years or were about to buy one in the next 12 months. And we asked them about how they felt about radio, how important was radio, and how important was that against other audio sources. And frankly, the numbers, the response was staggering. 80% of people who are planning to buy a car in the next 12 months said they're less likely to buy one if it didn't have a radio. Now, for a car manufacturer, this is gobsmacking, frankly, and they would never have believed it, but this is what we were told. Almost 90% rank broadcast radio as the most important audio feature, and that was way higher than either online music services or technologies like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that you might have heard of that mirror your smartphone on the dashboard. And 90% of car buyers said they thought broadcast radio should be standard in every single car. So this was a huge endorsement for radio and broadcast radio, and we use this research to talk to the car companies and say, look, you need to work with us to make sure that your customers' expectations are met and the radio experience is as good as it possibly can be. So that's a bit about the sort of challenges and opportunities. Well, what's Radioplayer doing about this on your behalf? Well, there's a few things. First of all, we firmly believe that we're going to keep radio strong by creating long-term partnerships with the car companies and organisations like Google who are building the technology that's going to power it. We know that the car companies haven't got the time to work with each individual broadcaster, so they prefer to work with someone like Radioplayer who can represent the broadcasters at least across Europe. So that's really important to us. We'll continue to push for radio's prominence. You saw that snapshot there of the Polestar. Lots more competition, but there are things we can do to make sure that radio retains a level of prominence that the listeners and the drivers in the car want and deserve. And we're also going to start to be getting in some user analytics. So as part of our partnership requirements with car companies, we asked them for some analytics about how people are listening to your station, for how long and what platform, how many cars. And we're going to start to get this in at the end of the year. And then most importantly, we build and we talk about a great user experience. I talked about hybrid radio earlier, but we don't just talk about it. We, at Radioplayer, we create it, we build it, we bring it to life, because we think that's the way that we're going to get the attention of the car companies. I'm going to show you a little demo in a moment, but 2 years ago, when we realised just how important Android Automotive was going to be, we started to build one of the world's first hybrid radio apps in Android Automotive. Google hadn't done it. We were one of the first people to do it. This is a snapshot. It's our own user interface, so we've created this within the Google templates. I'm just going to show you a short demo video which was filmed on automotive-grade hardware, so assume this is a car dashboard. It was done in Austria, so you can see some of the stations there. But if you're going to search for stations, you want a nice A to Z station list. You can scroll up and down that. You don't have to choose the platform. It just presents you with the station you want. If you know the name of the station and you're stationary, you wouldn't be doing this at 80 on the motorway, you can type in the name of the station you want, as we're doing here. But this is really important. You can see the nice high-resolution station logos. And what we've done within Radioplayer is we've introduced a library of artist images. So if the broadcasters are providing their own artist images, we show those. But if you're giving us just some of the now playing data, like track and show an artist name, we can supplement that with an artist image. And this is really important for the car companies. And again, it brings the experience to life in the car. You can see we've got favourites, recently listened to, and podcasts on demand content, really important along the bottom. But this is a hybrid radio. So if you drive out of broadcast coverage, it will switch to internet listening. So you never lose the listening to your station. And equally, if you're in the UK and you set a favourite along the bottom and you drive to France, for example, you'll still be able to listen to that favourite in France. It will just stream over IP as long as it's available. So this technology that we've built is available to car companies for free and we allow them to use it, providing we can partner with them and build a great experience. Again, we do that on your behalf. The other thing we've done is we've learned over the last few years about this technology, and we've pulled together all our learnings, created a report, and we're now in the process of talking to Google about how they can improve the standard radio experience in their technology. Really, really important. And there's a bit of lobbying to be done there, and it's a collective effort amongst European and international broadcasters. So that's kind of what we're doing. What do we need from you guys? I mentioned that word metadata earlier. A bit of a dull word, but it's so, so important. It's the stuff that brings radio to life on the dashboard. It's the station logos. It's the now playing information, track and artist now playing. It's the podcast and on-demand content. Those of you that are supporting Radioplayer will no doubt already be providing this. If you're not sure, please come and talk to me because we can help you. But this is the information that we use to set up our partnerships, so it's absolutely critical. So that's a bit about what we're doing. I'm going to talk about the future a little bit and what it might look like and show you a few things, because having a vision, building a vision for the long-term experience of radio in the car is absolutely crucial. And cars are going to change. They're going to look a bit different. Now I'm going to show you both ends of the scale. This is a really interesting car. This is called the Citroen Ami. So this is a low-cost electric vehicle. It's going to launch in the UK this year. It costs about £6,000. What's interesting about this car is there's no dashboard. There's no radio tuners in it. There's no heating controls. There's no speakers. It is a steering wheel. The only thing you've got is a speedo. If you want to get any entertainment, you download the Citroen Ami app. You dock your smartphone there, and there will be a radio button there, and there'll be a radio experience, and we need to make sure it's a good one. It's just an idea of how things are going to change. Interestingly, if you're in France, if you're 14 years and over, you can drive this car without a licence. Now, the UK looked at that and thought, no, we're not having that. So in the UK, you will have to be 17 and have a licence. And as the father of a 15-year-old who can barely put his trousers on in the morning, I can endorse that view from the UK. But it's one end of the spectrum about how things are changing. Now, if you look at the other end of the spectrum, this is a glimpse at BMW. This is a car they showed at the CES Technology Show in Las Vegas back in January. On the left, they talked about mood modes. So you can set your mood in the car. It could be calm, it could be sporty. They've got about 6 moods to choose from. And then the visuals and the lighting and the acoustics change according to your mood. Now, radio could have a role in that, right? In terms of recommendations and personalising things. So we'll be talking to BMW about it. On the right-hand side, they also showed a cinematic experience. A 31-inch screen drops down for the passengers in the back seat, and you can watch films at your leisure. So that's an increasing trend, and it's, again, that sort of entertainment is something radio is going to have to be conscious of. This is an interesting one. So virtual reality gaming. Gaming is massive in the cars, and a lot of the car companies are looking at this. And Audi are launching virtual reality gaming in some models in the summer this year. They've partnered with a company called Holoride. So you get your virtual reality headset. And what's interesting about it is it integrates with the car. So if you go round a sharp bend or over a hill, in your virtual world, the same thing will happen. And they think this is going to be big. Again, we'll be competing for people's attention. And then finally, at CES in January, Sony showed their concept car. They're talking about making their own car now. This is the Sony Vision S. See the huge dashboard screen, highly distracting, I'm sure. But they talked about 360-degree immersive sound. They talked about, unsurprisingly, getting movies available obviously from Sony, and also integrating PlayStation games. So I'm showing you this just to give you an idea. This is kind of 5 years and further on, I think. But the importance of building a vision for what radio is going to look like in those kind of environments is crucial. And that's what we're trying to do with our car company partners on your behalf and with your support. And we think the future's got to be hybrid, as I've talked about, have podcasts, enhanced with visuals, could be great visually, perfect voice control, we've not touched on that, we're doing a lot of work in that area, it's really important, and a personalised experience. So just to summarise, big challenges for radio, but loads of opportunities. Radioplayer is working hard on your guys' behalf, and with your support, we want to build a vision for the future of radio in connected cars. Thank you very much.